We are going to be doing a stage one paint enhancement on the Chevy Silverado. And what that entails is going to be a decontamination wash and a one-step protective polish, which I will explain a little bit later. This customer keeps his truck in nice shape. Even when he uses automatic car washes, it's just touchless. So it's very lightly swirled, but not very much. So a stage one enhancement is going to be perfect for this because we don't have to really remove any scratches. For the washing process, you'll see we're starting out with Car Pro Lift. This is going to be the pre-wash solution, which is going to break up a lot of the dirt and grime that we're going to blast off before we even do the contact wash. It's a really important step of any wash, essentially. And this is how you can tell the difference between a high quality shop or detailer and just a cheap shop that's going to rush through your work. These decontamination washes are multi-step processes. It's not just as simple as spraying the soap on, hitting it with a wash mitt, and blasting it off. You're going to see a variety of products that we're going to be using along the way, and I'll kind of show you step by step how I'm going to decontaminate this paint and prep it for that polish. So after that pre-wash solution and blasting it all off, we're going to hit it with that foam cannon. This is just going to be our pH balanced soap, which is really good for maintenance washes in general, but also super good just for giving it a good contact wash. So I'm going to be running over the panel with a wash mitt here, and I will explain the clay process in a minute. This is actually going to be a little bit different than what most people are used to seeing. Now, after rinsing the second step of the wash, which is the contact portion, we're actually going to be foaming this vehicle again. And some people might be thinking why. And the reason is because we're going to be claying this vehicle. Now, for this one here, like I said, it's probably different from what most people are used to. And what you're seeing on there is iron remover. So first of all, we're using a synthetic clay mitt. These things are really good, especially for vehicles that are not in too bad of shape. And the reason for that is that they do last a little bit longer, but as well, really, they do the exact same job. It's going to remove the contaminants from the paint. And this is a really good process because this is a perfect way to work the iron remover into the paint. So instead of just spraying the iron remover on, letting it sit for X amount of minutes and then blasting it off without any agitation, this allows us to clay the vehicle and actually work the iron remover in so it can do the best possible job. And just like the regular wash, we're actually going to be rinsing this off as well in the wash bucket with the grit guard at the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead, spray some more iron remover, and we're going to be hitting it again. So once all of that is clayed, we're just going to go ahead and blast this all off. Now that the paint is washed and prepped, we're going to kind of do our inspection, make sure the paint's going to be good to buff. So we're just using a paint depth gauge here. It does go by a few names, but they're pretty readily available on Amazon and whatnot. And that's just going to tell us kind of the thickness of the paint and clear coat in general. This is more than good enough to polish with. So like I mentioned on this vehicle, we are going to be doing a protective polish, which is going to be Rupes Uno Advanced. And I know I just showed that clip of the water beading, but I'm going to show it once more because this polish acts as almost like a sealant essentially. So we're going to leave this on the paint for 15 minutes before we even wipe it off. And it's not even affecting the polish that's sitting on there. Basically what's happening is it's just rolling right off of it. And those are the hydrophobic properties that this entire truck is going to have. We applied it on the glass. We will be providing a harder glass coating for the windshield and back window, but just for the sides, we're gonna be using this just to give it some of that water beading abilities. But again, we're just gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes and then I'm gonna show you when I wipe it off. Here's the polish being wiped off after sitting for about 15 minutes. You can see after it's sat and bonded, the excess really comes off nice and easily. And that's why we actually let it sit for 15 minutes. We're just really letting it bond to the paint so it takes those properties before we wipe it off completely. And I'm going to show you essentially the full process on these last two panels here. So you're going to see quite a few clips of me just buffing here. You can by all means skip ahead a little bit if you want to see closer to the final results. But if you are interested in polishing, buffing, how these processes work, you can really watch this here. And I'm going to explain a few things as I go. So for the pad specifically, I started with a yellow foam pad as you would have saw in some of the first clips. And that's why it's always important to do kind of a test spot or a test panel. After doing that and wiping it off, what I realized was that it was laying the polish on really nicely, but it wasn't removing any swirls at all. And that's all going to be dependent on the vehicle that you're working on and the paint that it has on it. So this one obviously was maybe a little bit harder in general. So what we had to do was kind of bump it up. So this was the wool pad. And what this is going to do is have just a little bit more bite to it. So I'm actually going to be able to remove some of these light swirls while laying this polish on. And it's going to come out really nicely. And the second machine you're going to see me use here is going to be the Flex PXE80. So regardless of the job I'm doing, I'll always have my second polisher on hand, which is going to be the 3-inch polisher. And that's for hitting all of the smaller areas. Now, if you have a little finesse with your machine, of course, you can hit some of these tighter spots with a 5-inch polisher, but it's just so much easier with this 3-inch. And it also helps that it's completely cordless. So you don't have to switch things out while you're switching the machines. I can just have this under my bench as I'm going, pull it out at the end, and kind of finish up all those smaller spots. You'll notice at the beginning of the panels, like what you're seeing right here, what I'm actually doing is just spreading the product. So you'll see me move a lot faster at the beginning And then after that product is spread throughout the panel, which this one already was, I kind of cut ahead a little bit. But once it's actually spread in fully, that's when I kind of start taking my time and making sure that product is working in properly and making sure I'm getting the proper level of correction that I'm looking for. So this one specifically, again, like I said, not a paint correction by any means, but it is an enhancement, and that does mean that we're going to be able to remove some of those light swirls with just this one step. And again, after sitting, like I've already shown you before, this is kind of the wipe off. So you can see instantly, it's just a nice boost of gloss right away. But this product actually does come off really easy, which is nice. I've heard of some people having some issues with like the Rupes Uno Protect or Advanced line with it being grabby or sticky, which some products can be. But I find when you apply it properly, you don't have those issues, and it's all going to depend as well on the temperature, the humidity of the environment that you're in. But overall, I've never had any issues with either of these two products, and I use them essentially solely on all of my stage one enhancements. I always throw in a little bit of a protective polish just as a throw, and I don't charge any extra for it. It's just nice if you're getting your vehicle polished that at least it has some hydrophobic properties and a little bit of light protection for one, keeping your car clean a little longer against like dirt and grime from the road, but as well a little bit of UV protection so it doesn't dull out quickly. The shot of the hood is awesome. At the beginning here, you can see the kind of fogginess in the paint. And right when we hit that halfway mark, you can see how much gloss is enhanced into this. And as always, just like I always throw in the protective polish, with this package, we are also going to be throwing in a windshield coating. So there's going to be P&S Inspiration View Glass coating. Really good coating. It lasts about 6 months on average. I have this on not only my personal vehicle all the time, but I throw this into a lot of packages because it's such a bonus. It really actually increases safety while you're driving. Not only is the visibility better and the clarity, but when it's raining hard or something like that, the water really just beads right off the windshield. It makes it so much easier to clean off. And overall, again, just a really nice add-on for any package. So that's it for the Silverado, guys. We did a stage 1 paint enhancement, protective polish on the paint, chrome, and glass, and an actual glass coating on the front windshield as well. Aside from that, this one is all done and ready to go. So here are the final results on this Chevy Silverado here. Overall, came out really, really nice. The customer was super happy with this, and he opted right away to keep on a maintenance program for about every 6 months. So if you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe for daily detailing content. Give this one a like for me, and comment down below if you have any questions about polishing or paint enhancement in general.